Alright, hello, good evening. So, I posted a while back ago, get my camera where it goes. Posted a while back ago a carving of a cowboy, and someone once on that post asked me how I did the cowboy hat. So this block is not normally sized the block I use. This is 2" by 2" by 2. This is way too big for what I need it for, but for this demo I'm going to show you how to do those cowboy hats. So what I do is I take this block, take a good knife, and I just round the edges and make it like a loaf of bread shape. See, I just rounding off these edges. And I don't remember who asked how I did the cowboy hats, and I apologize, but I do think it was on the Helvey wood cover page that I posted it. Okay, so now I got this little half round, half moon shape going on. Well, not half moon, but like a loaf of bread. You know, you can see the loaf of bread shape right there. And what I do is, my hats are pretty deep, so all this would be cut off for the hat, okay? So what I do is I take, and I don't have a pen or anything here with me. Hold on. I usually don't draw my stuff on here, but for this purpose, and I know you guys are going to probably yell at me for not having any carving glove or anything. So you want, this is your shape. It's kind of a half moon shape. I don't know if you can see that. So you kind of just do a little half moon shape right there, okay? Now, and you take your knife and you follow that line, which it's just an exaggeration. Just like I said, this block's way too big for what I use it for. And I start carving that line away. So I'm going to show you, try to show you while you're in here, why I'm facing the camera this way. So I'm just doing stop cuts, get that line to where I want it. So, and then I carve to the line. So I'm going to turn it this way for a second. And get my depth. Okay, so I carve down to the line. This is just going to demo the cowboy hat. This ain't going to do the whole face. I'm just going to show the cowboy hat. I'll do the whole head on another video. But this is just to kind of give you an idea how I do it. So you can see I'm carving to my stop cut, okay? Okay, so now you kind of see the shape of the hat, okay? So all this in the middle here is going to be the crown of your hat. So now that I got my stop cuts in, follow my stop cut across the top, okay, both sides. Then drive it all the way back, okay. And what you doing is creating the area that you're going to be carving out for the crown of the hat. So what I do is I cut down to that stop cut. And see how I'm cutting down to it? You can see how I'm cutting down. So now you can start seeing as I whittle this away, it will start giving me the crown of my hat. I want to switch to a stronger knife here, okay. One that's not so flexible, okay. So same thing on this side. So this is basswood that I'm using right now. Cowboy hats take time to shape out, and you'll see why here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to continue to shape that cut down. So I'm coming across there and kind of doing a V cut, okay? So I want all this to be carved out. See how I'm kind of grooving it out? You can kind of see the shape it's taken. I'll show you more on that shape in a minute. Okay, so now as we get deeper here, we'll start shaping the crown of the hat. So I'm going to do it to the other side. Follow my cut. I use a lot of stop cuts in my carving. If any of you guys do chip carving, you kind of know, kind of an idea on how to do certain cuts on chip carving. Okay, so you can see I'm getting it down in there. So on the back, I want to shape the brim so it's kind of a circle, half circle, and we will get there in a minute. So, but first we keep coming down to this side, and what I want to do is I want to cut this back to about right here and then shape it. Okay, so that's what I do is I want to keep cutting this, and then I come around the front because I'm going to go cut a lot of this away on the front, most of it. And so you can see me slowly kind of cutting this away. So you can see that hat shaping. So this right here, I'm going to keep carving away. And there you do it. You follow your lines. Now the man who taught me how to do this carving, I know, was able to make this cut in 2 cuts. I've never been able to try. You know, he would cut big chunks away at a time, and he says he could get it in 2 cuts. Well, he obviously had a lot more strength in his hand than me, and he was braver about it than I was. So if I remember correctly, that's what he said. He would get this in 2 cuts. I don't know, it's been so long. The guy is passed now. But you can see that I'm still coming along with this. So I'm gonna do this other side. You know, follow it around, take my knife, follow it around, keep following it back. Hold on, keep shaping it. As you shape it, you gotta cut it back. Gotta shape it back here. Get this down in the front. Like I said, I'm going to be taking this crown of this hat back probably about right here. So I still want this to be shaped in the front. As you see, I'm using the table for leverage sometimes. So I'm going to cut this down. So see, it's taking shape, so you kind of see what I'm doing here. And like I said, all this is going to be cut down. So you see how my brain is taking place. My crown, I just keep following my cuts. And then in here, I want it to go deeper. So I keep following my cut back here. Because it will go deeper, it will go pretty deep. You know, kind of see how deep I'm going, kind of. This is the back of the hat. So I'm going to go pretty deep, as you can see. So, you know, keep carving it out. Keep carving it out. So the reason why I decided to do this video is I told him, I wish I could remember his name, that asked that I would send him some pictures. Well, I just figured maybe a video might be better than a bunch of pictures at each stage. You can kind of follow along. And see the progress of it. So you see how it's coming down. That chip, I want out of there. See, this chip here, I'm trying to get that out. So I just work with it, little by little. I'll get this out of there. I don't do a lot of cowboys for the simple fact that it takes forever to get the hat in. But I try to make bolo ties. So, okay, back to this. We're going to keep cutting down this. So, I want, because eventually all this on the side will be gone, and it will be kind of narrow here enough to put a brim of the hat on. And that may be for another video. You know, right now I'm just trying to get this all carved out for you, so you can kind of see how I'm doing this hat. Okay, can you see how that's taking shape? Okay, so you see right here how I have all this sticky stuff here, and we'll clean all that up. So I'm kind of at an angle now. As you can see that, kind of going in at an angle. Because I kind of want to round this in the front to a hat shape. So I was trying, if you look at me, how I'm doing it, kind of curving my blade this way, following the shape of the hat we already have. Okay, so I'm going here, this again, just following the shape of the hat, cutting it down, following it down. See how it is? Take my knife, I follow it back, a little at a time, I say. There's no sentence rush in it. Okay, see, I still want to take this back. I want to get this pretty skinny through here, so I can make the brim of the hat. So right now I'm going to just clean it out. So see how I'm getting those grooves in? Okay, well, I need, this part still needs to be down in the front. So I take my knife and I carve this in the front. It's gonna be way back, way back. Just keep following that around. Cut it down. Stop cuts everything. As you cut it back, you can shape sides of the hat to get the depth you want. But like I said, you can kind of see how the shape is going. See how I'm doing that? I'm just basically following my line, which is what we drew earlier with my knife. And I'm following it back up this way. And everything in there is all going to come out. So you can see it's starting to take place. And so this line of that cut I just made, see, I'm going to clean this out. See that I'm cutting more on the side here. See how I cut down here? You can see that. See how I'm cutting down here, and then I come back this way, clean it out. And what I'm doing is kind of rolling this in at an angle to get this shape of the hat I want. All this stuff need to come out. This is gonna be, that's too big of a crown on a hat, so all this stuff still needs to come out. So I just follow my line, tip of my blade will get these chunks out. See how it's taking place. And I cut down. I'm just creating wedges. And right now, all this will be cleaned up in the middle. But now it's time for the other side. Same thing. Just create wedges. See how I'm creating another side like this? See, that side is kind of where I want it to be. So I'll shape it in a minute. Right now I'm trying to get clearance in there, and this has to come back more. So, like I said, that's got to be cleared out. This thing right here is gotta, all this in the front has got to come out. I want it pretty far back there. So, see. And then I just, with my knife, I just follow it around. Little by little, those little chunks come out. Man, who taught me how to do this? Used to just use a pocket knife, a Congress style pocket knife. And obviously this is a Helly knife, about Wilson Helly knife. Got a few Helly knives here from Guy Nielsen too. An interesting fact, the guy who taught me, those of you who are in the wood carving, knows some of the colors and that. The guy who taught me also taught Guy Nielsen how to do bolo ties. And so, I kind of learned from the same guy. Mine are a little bit different, but about same concept. So, like I said, I'm still taking, and if you can see that, I'm taking and I'm just cleaning out this groove, okay? So, see, I'm working on that groove. I'm trying to get this hat, shape of this hat down a little bit. We're gonna clean it up. I want it. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm kind of just cleaning out this area right here. There's a lot of things that didn't get fully cut. So just cleaning it out. Never twist or pry on your knife. You notice how I'm rocking it back and forth. Okay, so still cutting this down. Still want this in the front. I still want it back to about right here is where I'm wanting it back. So see the hat taking place? Okay, so you see my hat, okay? I'm still going to clean out here, down here. Everyone has their own thing about cowboy hats, different hats. That's how I do my hats. I know the video is going to be long, but I thought it would be easier than pictures for the person who asked me how to do it in 2 parts, maybe. Okay, so I'm still working on cutting this down. See how it's kind of shaping the front of the cowboy hat? You can kind of see the top of it right there. I still want it to be back here pretty far. And all this, you know, you can see my cuts are pretty jagged. That's a tight spot, and all that will be cleaned up as I make. I just rock my knife. See, I follow it, and I just slowly rock my knife up. Get some of that out, both sides. That's how I get my shaping done. Okay, so you see my hat taking shape now. I'm going to clean out wool on the sides. Okay, you can see that. Just cleaning it out. Just cutting down. I want these sides a little bit smaller right here. So that's what I'm doing. Just cutting it down. Do my back. So you kind of see how my slope is right there. I don't know, see if you can see it, how it slopes in like this, and then I come down. So if I can see that. So I come straight down like this, and my knife comes sloping at this at an angle to create this little V. Not quite a V, but that slope is what I'm following. And I'll follow that later when I do the crown of the hat. See, following my slope in the front. Like I said, this front part is still going to come back well. So I just follow my slope, little at a time. Get it cleaned out in the front. How I clean out the front is I just go this way, follow it, clean it out, square it up. Okay, so you can see my hat, the top of it, you can see the front of it, okay? See, it's starting to take shape. So, now, that slope I was telling you about on this side, you need to cut it down a little, and then make this make that a little bit smaller. So I follow the slope, and I just cut down the sides. see how I cut straight down on this one. So this side I go straight down. This side I go at an angle. Just follow it around. Back here. See if you look back here, what I take and I shape. So I kind of make the hat rounded from back here. And that way I'm rounding the brim of the hat into the crown. So I just take it around it. And that slope that we had on that side slowly becomes rounded. And you just follow it around. So like I said, I'm slowly rounding that down. Going against the grain is tough sometimes. You don't get the clean cuts you want. Just gotta play with it. So you just there's that side. Like I said, you just round it off. Okay, get in there with a small knife. Okay. Same thing on this side. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna round this off. So okay. I'm still going straight down now. And then I'm gonna follow my sloping nail. Go straight in there. Okay, so therefore there's your basic hat, okay? So that's the basic hat. Now I'm gonna clean this out more. Taking, I take my knife in here and I do a little rolling up motion, getting all this cleaned out. Same right here. A little rolling up motion, getting this cut back. So there is basic cowboy hat, okay? All this is going to be shaped, so you just shape it, roll it up, you know, both ways. That was your basic hat, okay? This in here needs to be cleaned out a little bit more, like as you can tell on these sides. And then you can put a brim on the hat. I have a good roughing out knife that I'm wanting to get. Oh, there we go. So I have this little thin knife, and I use the thinner knife to get in there. Not a rough out knife, it's more a detail knife. But the thinner knife can get in there, tighter spots, you know, smaller blade can get in there and rough all this in. And you know, clean this out. Carve that down. See how I'm carving that down? Okay, so my hat is still needing to come back more. So I take it and just square it off in the front. Follow my cut. Get these pieces out of the way. Okay, so I'm pretty happy, I guess, with that hat. It's back far enough for me. So here's a block. See how it's sitting? Okay. Okay, now what I do is I shape the brim of the hat. So, you know how I was talking about putting a sweatband on it? Okay. Now it's pretty tight still to get in there. But if you try, that's why you need a thinner blade. But I take and make a stop cut all the way around here, and then I shape the hat. So here's my stop cut. And as long as I can get my blade in between the brim and the crown, it's easy to make my stop cut. And so you want to carve it. If your knife can't quite get in there, you want to carve it to where it can. You want your knife to be able to fit in there flat. Okay, so that brim is going to go, like I said, I don't do anything with pencil. I just make stop cuts. Okay, so see, I'm starting to shape it now. Okay. So now, start to see the shape of my hat. And so I carve a little point. If you see that, make a little point. Just on the front part of the hat. So you see my little point there. And what I like to do is I like to shape the hat. Kind of roll my blade in like this, roll in, create like a depth line. No, same thing in the front. So So now you can see the peak of my hat. See how it's like that? You can kind of see the shape. Now, back to the brim. You gotta create the brim all the way around the hat. I mean, not brim, sweatband. So you gotta clean up the hat band in a minute. But you can kind of see the hat band all across there. So So if you look down here, you can see how the hat band's taking shape. You can start to see it as a hat band there. Same thing on this side. I'm going to continue on till I can get my knife in there. Like I said, you want to be able to get your knife in there to create that hat band. And you may have to work it a little bit at a time. So you can kind of see my hat band on the other side now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going down next to it. Oh, see how I'm coming right next to the hat band. And I'm going to cut down and then to kind of define it. So I'm cutting down next to the hat band, straight down, and I'll do my little V cuts. Follow my slope. So now you can see my hat band all the way around. That's from the back. You can see the hat band. See the hat band. Go in the front. Kind of reveal the hat band a little bit more. Okay, so you got my peak right there. See how I have that peak? Now, I do to create a pinch point on the hat. You know, a cowboy hat, they have a pinch part on the hat. Both sides. See another hat. And then I come under that pinpoint and I do my little rounding trick. So it kind of gives it, and in the front I like to round it way back. I like to have the front of the hat poking out a little bit past, you know. Yeah, I'll show you. See how it looks like it's kind of coming, it kind of comes in like this. So it's that. Round the corners of the hat band. points. Okay. There you go. That's the basic hat. So what I'll do is I'll stop. I'll start another video, and well, we'll keep going. Let's keep going, and I'll show you how to finish shaping the rest of the hat. Okay. So you got, say I have ears here. I'm just going to imagine I have ears, and I have an ear here. Most people draw it. Let me draw it. So I take, say if this is my top of my ear, on both sides, top of my ear. Okay. And then I take my hat, and I kind of, from the top of the ear, kind of bring it around like this. Okay. So I'll show you. So like I said, everything's a stop cut. So I take my knife, follow my lines, shaping the brim, this hat right here. So I'll take and follow this line. It will be the front of the hat. Okay, see? I created a shape of my hat. Okay. Continue on down this way. Okay. Follow your line. Curve to it. And what I'm doing is like it's a little V cut. See how it's a little V cut groove right there? Okay. And then I go pretty deep. Okay, see? That side. You got the front. Now we got this side to do. Okay. So, now you got. Now, I'm not going to put a face on this, but I'm going to show you how I finish this hat. And then later, some other time, we might do a face. This block is, you know, too wide and too short down here for a face. These are like mine a little bit longer. But I cut this brim back pretty good. So I just follow it back. follow it around, and I cut back up to it. So see, I cutting back into the brim. Yeah, the brim, pretty far in there. So I tried to make this brim stick out a little bit past, you know, say my nose. So you see that, how I'm cutting it back. Sorry, felt like there was something on my arm. Okay, again, I'm cutting it back pretty good. Along there, you can see shape of it. See, cutting it back pretty good. And I'll show you why here in a minute. Okay, now this hat's still kind of square, so what I take it around it. See how I kind of shape my hat down, take my brim and round it off. I want it kind of a little bit below the crown. Round it back, cut this down a little bit in the back so I get a nice rounded shape. And then all this in here gets cleaned up. See how that's cleaning up in there? I just clean it up. See how we shaped that side? How we got the front of it looking? I don't know if you can see that, but kind of got the front of it looking like that. Okay. So, and then again, you come in here, in the back, right here, on this side, let's see, on this side, and clean it up. You know, you can see this, probably not, but what I do is I take my knife, and go here, and roll it up, clean it up. Get the shape in it, getting all that in there to create the little sweep of the hat. See, that's one side. See, I'll worry about this down here in a minute. Let's do this other side. Same way. You round it from here, kind of shape here. Cut this down in the back. Shape the top of it. You kind of want it to be slightly lower than the thing of the hat. You know, the crown of the hat. You want it slightly lower, because, you know, the rim's not as tall as the ground. See how it's coming to shape? Again, see all this, how thin this is here? See how thin it is here and how thick it is here? You guys do that sweep cut and clean all that out now. Small cuts. Don't get too much in a hurry. You just want to clean all this out. The front of it right here, same thing. Sweep cut. Get it all cleaned out. You know, as I'm using my thumb to push. You can see I use my thumb and I roll it. I'm not digging too deep. I'm just slowly cleaning all this up. Okay, so now there is my cowboy hat. You gotta do it in the front too. I sweep it down. Kind of give it a little, like it's dropped down in the front, right there. Shape it, the front of the hat. You know, just shape the front of it. Gotta get that shape where you want it. Okay, see? And you got all this clean out by doing that little rounding technique. Get all this out of the brim. Okay, so you see, let's do some. Still see some, I don't know what they call that little stuff that's left behind from cuts that don't all fall out, but okay, so see, there's the shape of the hat, there's the front of the hat, there's one side, there's the other side. Now we got the hat. Looking at it like this, okay, we got the hat. We got this all shaped. You can still shape this out if you want it to look wider and not so straight up and down, you know, like I pull that out. See how thick it is still? See, you can see how thick it is. And you kind of want it to have this shape right here and not this side, but anyways. And then, you know, this one's kind of shaped so it slopes back So this one needs to be so black. So and I'm not a huge fan of being even on all the sides, you know. Hat is hat. A lot of people get really offended if you're not symmetrical on these things, and I don't care. This is just a fun little carving, character carving. Don't have to be symmetrical. Okay, so here's my hat. Okay, now the side of the hat. Well, you want to shape it down. So I do. Is I take and I follow my brim